All right, so this is the Project Freedom Fighters by Benton Markham from University of Advancing Technology, majors for business technology in VR. What is Freedom Fighters? Well, Freedom Fighters bases off of a book that I read a long time ago, and for now, this is the temporary name that we're giving it for the idea that I have. Growing up in school, let's just say that it was hard for me to pay attention dealing with Tourette's and ADHD while dealing with those learning disabilities. Some subjects didn't always exactly grab my attention, and certain learning methods also made it harder for me to be able to pay attention or honestly just have a passion for it. Doesn't help that most of the teachers, too, in history focus on learning dates and memorization in order to pass it off as knowledge or understanding of what history can teach us. And there's so much more that we can gather from history to apply to our new lives, solutions moving forward, and in general, just having a respect and appreciation of the past and how far we've come or what they used to do back then and bring it into our lives. And so I have a project where I want to focus on having tailored learning experiences. With virtual reality, this is something that I personally have been inspired to want to do, creating experiences where people can jump in and they can learn about VR. And the main statement that I wish for people to do, if I had to give them 30 seconds of explanation what it would be like jumping into Freedom Fighters, is imagine waking up on a boat and you see George Washington and you're on the Delaware River and you get to ask him questions about his life before you jump into battle. What kind of questions would you ask him? What would you want to know? With AI and a tailored database experience that's continually growing with technology, you can get in there and you can ask George Washington what his life is like and be able to learn more about him and that time and be able to take part of battles and other fun learning experiences. And so that's the general concept of Freedom Fighters as I've been developing it. Just to be able to clarify too, a lot of classes they focus on memorization and just getting ready for quizzes, and after that, very little that people remember. I want to create meaningful experiences that people can be able to attach their learning to and be able to recall that. Think of Hamilton, for example, the play. A lot of people, certain people, but a lot of people who paid attention to that music in that play know a lot of the songs, but also follow the story. How much more do they know about Alexander Hamilton and his history and the history of that time because of those experiences? How much more appreciation do they have as well? I hope to have a virtual reality experience in game where people are able to have similar learning opportunities and be able to walk away really feeling like they understand more about the experiences I want to show. One of the showcases that I'll be going over is in the civil rights era, late 1900s, as well. But specifically the civil rights movement, where they'll be able to, understand a little bit more about what happened during that, and then also fighting for their freedom back in 1776. So there'll be a little bit of jumping into those different histories, but civil rights movement is the main one that I want to focus on. My solution allows for the more personalized touch, and the innovation is going to be how AI is being used for conversation in real game time, and use your microphone, your input to be able to give a response. And no one's really done that from what I've been able to research so far. Definitely there's books, well, not books, but like programs, ChatGPT, really things like that, where you can textualize, you can input that knowledge, and people give you back an answer. But I haven't seen any games specific experiences where you can ask AI a question and a response back to you. So it's going to be a little bit of a new groundbreaking step to introduce something like that, innovative in its field. Gonna need to learn, a few more things, keep polishing Unreal Engine, a little bit more of C Sharp, C++, for the coding. I'm gonna need to understand better about repositories for GitHub, modeling, molding in Blender and Maya. And then some other classes I may need to want to additionally take is AI technology and set design to round out some of the edges that I already have. Really, the scope of the project can get pretty big real quick, but like I talked about, I want to focus on two different things. So one is the Civil War. So I messed up on this part putting Civil War because obviously that's different than crossing the Delaware River, but I want it to be the Revolution in this part of the Delaware River, and then a part of Abraham Lincoln in the Civil War. So there will be, for the one with George Washington during the Revolution, there's going to be, you're in the boat and in the battle. Estimated time play about 5-10 minutes. Going to be using the programs Unreal Engine, Maya, and AI program, and I'll be acting as the lead and main developer. And then as needed, may be able to hire or take onto my team for those who are interested in artist, designer, and playtesters. So I'm really hoping to keep the specific itself very limited on what we're trying to do, not trying to create a full-fledged game, but rather showcase the AI can work. We can get to answer specific questions, and that we can also be able to create a meaningful virtual reality experience with tailored questions and learning where people can walk away and be able to explain in their own words more of what the revolution was like. Target market that we're looking for is those who are interested in history, those who might not be interested in history but find this something that would pique their interest, and then just general gamifying learning for those who want to jump on board. And then this is just some prior, art, as well as experiences, examples. One called Historic VR. This focuses specifically on the art of, like the past. They use LiDAR, which is using satellites to be able to see how tall and how big things were. And they recreate visuals of this in AR rather than really VR. And so that's pretty neat because you're able to take a look at a shield, zoom in, see, what it looked like when it was repaired and what it was beforehand, and just the reason for the engineering behind that. And then there's a game on Steam for virtual reality experience called 1943 Berlin Blitz. And so that focuses specifically, on a experience during a World War, but it doesn't really have intentional learning to it. It's more just, hey, sit through this experience that happened, and that's about it. This is kind of the proof of concept, early stages of the prototype, seeing playthrough of what that looks like, and then just, the photo of George Washington on the Delaware River. So just clarify, Revolution, not Civil War. Thank you for joining.